Welcome to Wallace and Wire. Today we're talking about quite a significant political statement, really.
Mm,
One that's brought crucial conversations about unity and, well, responsibility right to the forefront.
that's right.
There was an incident recently, you might have heard about it, at the National Day celebration in Perak. It involved a woman and the Perak Sultan.
Mm.
And then following that, a politician made a comment which very quickly drew some strong condemnation.
It really did. The situation escalated, quite rapidly. It moved beyond just the initial event itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, it became this much broader discussion about how public figures communicate,
yeah.
especially, I think, in a diverse society like ours here in Malaysia.
It really highlights that sensitive line, doesn't it,
Mm.
between, expressing concern and maybe unintentionally or intentionally inciting division.
Exactly. It's a fine line. So let's maybe try and unpack the layers of this incident and what came after.
Okay, let's do that. Let's unpack this. So
Yeah.
the incident itself happened during the National Day Parade. A woman attempted to approach the Perak Sultan. And then soon after, an elected representative, Hafez, he's the PAS state assemblyman from Manjoy, he made a public comment about it.
Okay. And what did he say?
Well, he expressed regret over the incident, which is, understandable. But crucially, in his statement, he mentioned the woman was Chinese.
Ah,
And he also called for better security measures. But it was that mention of race that really caught people's attention.
yeah, you can see why. And what's fascinating and maybe quite problematic here is the immediate reaction that statement got.
Mm-hmm.
The Perak Amanah Youth wing, from the Amanah Party, they came out very strongly condemning Hafiz's remarks.
And their main point was,
Their key point really was that he made these statements without any verification, like zero checking beforehand.
so just stated it as fact.
Apparently so. And the official report, the one from the actual enforcement units on the ground, well, it painted a completely different picture.
How?
It clearly stated the woman was actually a Malay citizen, and significantly that she was suffering from mental illness, and even had a documented history of receiving specialist treatment.
Wow. So a completely different story.
Completely different. And this huge gap, this discrepancy between an unverified public statement by a politician and the actual facts, well, that's incredibly crucial here.
Yeah, it instantly shifts things, doesn't it? From a security incident to something else entirely.
Exactly. It becomes a potential crisis of misinformation and trust.
So what does this all mean then? The Perak Amanah Youth Group, they emphasize that Hafiz's actions weren't just irresponsible, but fundamentally untrue.
That was their stance.
They went further, didn't they? Accusing him directly of attempting to stir up racial emotion.
Yes, they did. They pointed out how these false accusations, especially ones with a racial angle, can spread so easily online, like wildfire,
And people believe them.
and people start to believe them. Yeah. It's a really stark reminder, I think, of how quickly racial sentiments can be manipulated, used to create division, even hatred.
Especially, as they noted, on a day like National Day, a day that's supposed to be about celebrating our unity and independence.
Precisely. It feels particularly jarring on such a day.
So, connecting this to the bigger picture then, Perak Amanah Youth's view seems to be that making things up like this, specifically to incite racial feelings, is, well, they called it unforgivable.
They did use strong language.
Yeah.
They described it as I believe the term was a cheap weapon.
A cheap weapon.
Yeah. Used for narrow political agendas.
Yeah.
And their argument is that this kind of tactic ultimately puts the harmony of our multiracial society at risk.
It's a powerful point, isn't it, about the potential ripple effect of just one unverified claim.
It really is. You have to think about the long-term damage. Statements like these, they chip away at trust. They can deepen existing fault lines in society.
Makes it harder for communities to, work together.
Exactly. It's not just about this one incident. It's about the fabric of our social cohesion, really.
It does make you wonder, though, why would a politician, an elected representative, make such a statement? An unverified one, racially charged. What might the intention be?
Well, according to the perspective put forward by Perak Amanah Youth, the intention, especially when you falsely assign a race in a sensitive situation like this, is likely about exploiting those existing racial fault lines.
For political gain.
That's the implication, yes. It suggests it could be a calculated move, trying to perhaps rally support from one group by casting blame on another, even if it's based on something completely false.
That cheap weapon analogy makes sense in that context.
It does. It's quick. It stirs emotions easily, gets attention. But the potential consequences for national unity are, well, devastating.
Because when a leader points a finger based on race without facts.
They're almost giving permission for others to do the same, aren't they? It can feed into a cycle of suspicion, maybe even animosity.
Perak Amanah Youth also brought up Hafez's background, didn't they? Pointing out he's a state assemblyman, a graduate from University Malaya, with a degree in Islamic studies.
Yes, they did raise that. Their argument was basically that given his education and his position, he should exercise, much greater caution. He should be more responsible with his public statements.
Use his platform differently.
Right. Instead of potentially instilling negative feelings, they argued he should be using his knowledge to educate people, to foster understanding within our diverse community.
It really boils down to leadership, doesn't it? And the huge role politicians play in shaping public conversation, for better or for worse.
Absolutely. And it raises that critical question. What do we expect from our public leaders when it comes to fostering unity versus division?
Yeah.
And beyond just the ethics of it, Perak Amanah Youth also stressed the gravity of the incident because it involved the Perak Sultan, his status, his safety.
That adds another layer entirely.
It does. They urged the authorities to conduct a really thorough investigation into any attempts to manipulate this event for political reasons.
And to take strict action.
Yes, to uphold the dignity of the royal institution. So this isn't just about racial rhetoric anymore. It elevates the whole discussion. It touches on national security, respect for our institutions.
The monarchy is a symbol of unity for many Malaysians.
It's a very important symbol. So any perceived disrespect or manipulation involving the institution can stir quite deep public sentiment.
So it becomes crystal clear, really, this kind of fabricated slander, especially when it gets believed and spread widely, just shows the sheer danger of what they termed racial politics.
This tendency to link everything back to race, even when it's not relevant.
Yeah, and Perak Amanah Youth is calling for a thorough investigation into how this false news spread, looking at anyone who might be intentionally using these issues to create division.
Yeah.
They seem quite firm in their belief that as a nation, we can't keep being trapped in this culture of racial defamation, where truth gets sacrificed.
Their observation is quite stark. Citizens need protection from what they call hate politics, because, as they suggest, that kind of politics ultimately only brings destruction.
It's a serious point about the long-term impact on society. I mean, think about it. Once trust is broken, once communities become really suspicious of each other.
How do we tackle the real challenges?
Yeah.
Economic progress, social issues. It becomes incredibly difficult.
So it makes you think, doesn't it? And maybe this is something for you, our listener, to consider. What do you think is the responsibility of politicians in keeping social harmony, especially when these sensitive incidents happen?
Yeah, and how does this kind of rhetoric impact your trust? Trust in public figures, maybe even trust in each other.
This whole situation and the points raised by Perak Amanah Youth, it just really underscores for me the critical need for verified information, for responsible communication from leaders.
Absolutely.
The potential for manipulation, for division. It's always there, isn't it? And it's something we as Malaysians really need to be constantly aware of, especially when statements immediately jump to racial conclusions without any solid facts.
Couldn't agree more. The integrity of public discussion, the protection of our multiracial harmony, these things are just paramount. These conversations, like the one we're having, they can be challenging, sure, but they're absolutely essential, I think, for our collective future. They force us to look at some uncomfortable truths about how easily division can be sown.
And how vital it is for leaders to act with, well, integrity and foresight.
Exactly.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.